With his dedication and strong willpower, Bhavya, even after being visually impaired, has secured 93.5% in his 10th CBSE board. Bhavya's story inspires not only all the students of his age group, but all of us. So let's talk to Bhavya. Hello, Bhavya.
Hello, ma'am.
Congratulations for your 10th result. You have made all of us proud, and we would like to hear from you about your journey till date, like how you study, what procedures you use. All the students want to know, like, in what ways you understand science or feel science.
Thank you, ma'am. I use a number of techniques for my education. First and foremost, for all of my subjects, even languages and theoretical subjects, apart from math and science, I take my notes and write my notebooks virtually on my laptop. So it's a standard Windows powered laptop. The only difference being that it has an additional software called a screen reader by the name of non-visual desktop access. So this software reads out whatever is there on the screen, whether it is the Windows desktop, a Word document where I write all of my chemical equations and English and Hindi answers, and so on and so forth. But for math and science, particularly being mindful of the diagrams and visual aspects of the subject, I need to use some different typing tools to enter my math, sometimes known as LaTeX and Math Type. I sometimes need to use what are known as swell line papers, on which if a person draws with even a typical pen or a more pointed special stylus with a little extra pressure, the drawing made on such a swell line paper, which is placed on a rubber mat and clipped to a typical average clipboard, the diagram is embossed and tactile, and I can feel my way through the diagram. So math diagrams can be explained verbally till class 10, but especially for science, I have found it increasingly necessary to use tactile diagrams drawn on this swell line paper.
So, swell line papers like the one which you like today, this graph. What is this graph about?
So this, I believe, yes, this was the graph that showed the radial probability for the 1s subshell.
1s orbital.
Orbital, apologies. So basically what this is, that this is the y-axis, this is the x-axis, and we start from the origin. And this x-axis, I know from memory that this represents the distance from the nucleus, and this represents the probability distribution. So first we go up as the distance increases, and then there's a peak, and then since there is no node, we just assume that it goes down and then tends to 0 but never reaches it. So
Bhavya, I can see that you are like understanding the concepts to the core just by the touch and feel. Like now you have understood, but then how you convert these figures for future reference?
So especially this graph was extremely easy to remember just conceptually, because all of these orbitals have same 1s, 2p, 3d, so on. So I just know what it means. When you have 2s instead of 1s, then you have a smaller peak, and then you have a higher peak, and then you tend to 0, and there is a node in between, so 0 in between. So these are things that I can actually type down and sort of store to some extent in my memory, or otherwise just recall from textual description of my own. But in case of slightly more unique graphs, such as the graphs for each of the 6 trigonometric functions, I sort of keep a list of these swell line papers with me handy. So for future reference, I actually feel them again.
Okay. So now you're preparing for IIT JEE. You are comfortable, like you're preparing for one of the toughest examinations of the country. You're comfortable with the preparation?
Yes. Of course, the syllabus is not going to be easy from what I've heard. And maths is getting a little more abstract.
Hmm.
But yes, I don't find any additional challenge at this point for me. With the
Hmm.
help of these adaptive techniques and methods, I'm
Hmm.
able to grasp whatever is being taught to me.
Okay. So, how many hours of studies you manage on day-to-day basis?
Um, about 5 hours of coaching here and a couple hours of revision and practice at home, and especially on days where I have adequate time, I try to revise all my past notes, tidy
Hmm.
them up, write them in a cleaner way, and just sort of think about the things I understood, and in case I have doubts, note them down for the next lecture.
Bhavya, you're into a lot of extracurricular activities. I can see that you participate in a lot of activities like debate camp, space camp. Now you are about to go to Cornell University for debate camp. You're also going to space camp in US in the month of September, and various other activities. You are continuously engaging in some of the other activities which are constructive. You learn a lot through these activities. So, how you manage your studies as well as these extracurricular activities?
It's more about the fun and learning in these activities itself. So I never view themselves as another burden along with studies. So one can derive a lot of pleasure in preparing as well as sometimes doing well in a lot of these competitions. For instance, I truly enjoy debating and public speaking. So this summer program was something I applied for myself. These other competitions I've participated in and sometimes won in, I have reached out, researched about them, and participated in themselves at my own volition and then done well in them. So it's all your choice, your preference. As long as you enjoy something, you can explore that avenue as much as you possibly want without really compromising on your school or other academics.
Well said, Bhavya. This is what I feel most of the students struggle to maintain a balance between their studies and their extracurricular activities. And tell us something about the global IT challenge. Because I know that you are interested in IT, where I heard that you are also learning Python programming. So tell us your interest in IT and also your achievements in global IT challenge.
Yes, I have been recently learning Python programming from this online course on edX offered by MIT. It's about introductory computer science and using Python as the programming language of preference. So, this Global IT Challenge event was organized in China 2 years ago, I believe, and I participated in the national selection at NIT Kurukshetra, and I won 4 goals out of 5 events. Therefore, I was selected to represent India. And at the global round, I won a gold and a silver in the two individual events. And as Team India, we won one bronze medal. So those were a couple of accolades that we received out there. But otherwise, I truly enjoy learning about recent technological innovations, maybe AI or data science or natural language processing. It all fascinates me, and I want to understand how this all works at the end level. So, on a lower level, that is. So, I like to understand more about whatever fascinates me.
You're interested in robotics also, like you secured internationally 13th rank in International Robotics Olympiad. So,
Yes, so that was actually an opportunity I stumbled across rather than deliberately searched for. There was this regional selections event I participated in, got selected, then was trained for the nationals, in which my team, consisting of two far more experienced and um, helpful teammates, we made it through our way to the international round, and there we stood 13th. But more than the rank, it was about the learning and experience. Uh, After all this, however, I've concluded that my interests lie more along the lines of software and virtual technologies rather than hardware and robotics. But all of this is conducive to one's understanding of information technology as a whole. So I think that was also a valuable experience for me.
So now you're more interested towards IT.
Yes.
You recently participated in IT Viz organized by TCS.
Yes, that was a quiz competition organized by the Tatas. I actually participated in the 8th grade just for the fun of it. I was really riveted by the kind of competition they had on stage. I prepared slightly next year, and in the 9th grade, I qualified for the on stage finals and stood fourth. And a year later, I was determined and I won the Mumbai Regionals.
Okay. So what is your future goal? Like I can see you are too much interested in IT. So and you're preparing for IIT JEE. So what is your goal going
Um,
forward?
I like to keep my goals short term as far as possible, but what is most important to me is making the most of every opportunity that comes my way and looking for more when they don't, and just pursuing them as much as I possibly can. For now, I think learning more about science and math is a top priority, and I think that can be done while simultaneously preparing for the JEE. Apart from that, I have enrolled into some of these summer programs in the months of July, August, and September, October. So that will keep my love for learning about astrophysics as well as public speaking and rhetoric alive. So I just want to keep myself well rounded and keep following my dreams and being passionate about whatever I find interesting.
Hmm. Like this, I agree. You're passionate to the core that I can see that nothing can stop you. Like when I met you for the first time, you were full of positivity. You were reflecting positivity so much, and you did not have any doubt of how to go ahead to pursue your goals. So how you maintain so much of positivity? You are actually spreading positivity without you knowing it. So how you are so much positive?
I am told that I am positive, but it's just about thinking about what you can do, and the reality is that a lot is possible. And since this was because I had done my preliminary research, I had figured out whatever basics I needed to have in place, and then I just stated it. Sometimes people take time to believe it and secondly understand it, and that is perfectly alright. It is my duty and responsibility to be patient, to seek for accommodations, and just continue spreading change about perceptions and attitudes towards persons with disabilities and students with special needs. So I've just been doing my thing with a little bit of self advocacy every now and then.
And would you like to take this as an opportunity to talk about your mother? Like, I can see that she's actually preparing for IIT with you. Like, every day she comes along with you, drops you, sits outside the class, waits for the class to be over, and like I can see a lot of efforts from her side, and I'm sure without her support, so much of strength and strong the willpower which you have, definitely she had played an important role. So would you like to share something about?
Yes, a large part of the credit behind whatever I am today does go to my parents, and they made some tough decisions about my life, whether to continue in a mainstream school, to switch to a school specifically for students with visual impairments in my grades 5 and 6. Then they took me daily to this rehabilitation center, and they're basically doing whatever is in their capacity to enable me. They, of course, are the sole cause of the raw material that I was and building me up till grade 6. Then they never prevented me from pursuing any other aspiration when I was a little older in grade 7, 8, and 9. And of course, even now they support me and trust me in my decisions, and I'm thankful for their continuous encouragement and motivation.
Bhavya, what message you would like to give to all other students?
Um, just keep at whatever you like doing and try to do whatever you enjoy as best as you can. Excel in whatever you love and don't follow the convention or the norms set by others necessarily. Try being new, creative, and innovative, and be honest to yourself. Be realistic as well as objective, but at the same time open minded and flexible. And you'll probably end up realizing slowly and steadily that eventually sky is the limit. And yes, that's it.
Very good, Bhavya. Thank you so much, Bhavya. Thanks for inspiring all of us.